can the Miami Heat stun the NBA if Giannis does not return for Game 4 and beat the Milwaukee Bucks as the 8th seed? The first time it would happen since 2007 in the We Believe War
They're the
Series.
7th seed. Let's not give Atlanta any credit for that Mickey Mouse win. They just got lucky. Okay. Second, I don't know what the hell happened. I was watching this game like, who the hell are these people? I've never seen us make that. Every single time I saw 3 go up, and it's like, okay, that's dropping. That's dropping. Jimmy went 4 for 4.
4 for 4 from 3. That's crazy. No, listen. I mean, first I want to say before I talk about the game, about Oladipo. Man, that one looked scary. That one looked different because
he was able to at least come off without the stretcher.
Yeah, I've never seen that before. I don't think where a player basically kind of goes up and mid jump, mid leap, you could just see the knee lock up on him. And I know he's talked about it. I think he was on the Pivot podcast, if I'm not mistaken. He talked about how his first surgery was a complete and utter mess up. The doctor messed up a lot of things, and he had to do like a couple of reconstructive surgeries to fix it. And he was hoping that this one last season was the one that was finally going to help. But it's just, I mean, I love Depot when he came out the draft. I heard the comparisons with Dwayne Wade. But
he was living up to them for a little bit.
He was early, and listen, he had the down year in OKC. Him and Rush just didn't fit well, but then he went to Indy and he was balling out of his mind. But back to the game. I don't know, man. Listen, we're going into Game 4. Jimmy's got a bruised glute. Don't know what that means.
It's not like he had to return to this game, which was
he didn't have to, which was good. Duncan Robinson. I've been calling for him all year. I understand when I speak about something, people seem to think that I'm ignoring or I'm being ignorant to the points that I'm not speaking about. But no, I understand what I'm talking about. When I'm talking about Duncan, I'm saying calling him for to be in the game. I understand the defensive liabilities he presents, right? And I tweeted about it, I think. Athletically, Duncan Robinson is not a good defender. Like, we're not going to sit here and lie to you or joke to you about that. Like, he's not a good defender physically or athletically. He lacks in those departments. But what I've been saying is he doesn't lack in the mental department of defense. Because when you watch him off ball or anything, he's always active. He always is trying to do the right thing, be in the right place. Yeah, knows where to be. He's always trying. And I tweeted about it. I said, it's by design he has to do that because he knows he's self-aware enough to know I'm shit athletic. I'm not competing with these guys athletically, physically. So I have to be better up here and play a better fundamentally sound defensive thing. But listen, when Duncan Robinson is on the court, guys, do you understand how much that opens the offense for any team? Not just Miami. Any team he's on, it opens the offense. Because you know how many points Bam has gotten off of Duncan Robinson? Because of the slips, and he's able to cut to the rim, and 2 guys are running at Duncan because they're so scared that he's going to cash in a shot. Like, that is the threat a Duncan Robinson presents. That is what we expected. And, slowly but surely he got moved out of the offense. And I understand because Tyler Hero was starting to get a bigger point, and John spoke about you can't have 2 bad defenders on the court at the same time and blah, blah, blah. I get it, right? But Duncan Robinson opens up the offense so much because of how much of a sniper he is from the 3-point line. I love that guy. Miami runs on Duncan. It ain't lying. It's the facts. John asked, can we beat the Milwaukee Bucks? Now, do you mean can we beat them in Game 4 or can we win this series?
Can you win this series, Brandon?
Can we win this series? I think it all depends on a lot of things, right? I mean, is Giannis only sitting out because the Milwaukee Bucks don't see us as a threat? So basically, what I'm saying is Giannis basically able to play?
He was walking around, but he was still limping.
I understand. I know.
So I
just heard Jalen Rose and Stephen A. Smith talk about it on NBA Countdown, I think is what it's called on ESPN, and they were like, if this was a Game 7, Giannis would be playing. You know what I mean? And I question that because Giannis doesn't strike me as the type of person who's going to sit out if he can play. Like, he's not that type of person. That's not how he's built.
When they won the championship, the doctor told him, "Hey, yo, one little more tweak and your knee is done." And he still took the risk and played.
Like, Giannis is built different. He's built like a '90s basketball player, '80s basketball player. He really is. He's got that mentality, and that's why I love about him so much too.
Hey, you can love it. That nigga's a psychopath.
So I don't know where it stands with Giannis, where it stands with Jimmy. Listen. All I'm gonna say is, who would have thought that we would be up 2-1? Who would have guessed this? Who would have thought? Nobody. And we here, so let's just enjoy the ride while we can. You know what I mean?
I'm not too mad about it. Obviously the circumstances which are upward 2-1. I wish it was, I want to see everybody healthy. I want to see everybody playing. I did think we had a chance to at least take 2 games in the series if Tyler was healthy, because this series is basically meant for his skill set. So the moment he went down, I'm like, okay, if Giannis comes back in this game too, I think the series is done. I don't think we have another chance, because Bam looks scared to shoot still, or not even scared to shoot. He's just so worried about everything else on offense and defense that taking a shot doesn't seem to like come to his head anymore, which is insane. Jimmy obviously is going to give you your 25, 30, 35, depending if he's hot that night. But you don't have anybody else on this roster that's been consistent this year. So for Caleb to give you 15, at least 15 in every single game, for Max to be shooting like 75% from 3 this series, for Kyle to come in and just be getting buckets for no reason, for Duncan to come in and turn into the 2020 version of him, these are all things that you'd have to say the stars have to align completely perfectly for the Heat to have a chance in the series, and they are. And it also happens with Giannis like nursing an injury, and the problem is that now our next game is Monday. Giannis doesn't have too much more time to get healthy, and if he's coming back and he's coming back injured, that may be way worse than it is good. Because especially on a team against like the Heat that's physical, you're taking a chance of getting injured, even like aggravating that even worse again against a team like this. But they kind of do need him. They don't have the firepower. They don't get to the free throw line enough because he's not putting them in the bonus. They're literally relying on their 3-point shooting alone because their interior passing is next to awful for some reason. You'd think with a target like Brook Lopez, they'd be good at driving and dump off passes, but they're really not. Well, I guess the Heat kind of disrupt that for a lot of teams because I think we have the most active hands in the league. But it's just everything wrong to go for wrong for the Bucks is, and everything right for us is going right over here. Now, next game, I do think we have a chance to go up 3-1. Bam still hasn't played a great game. Bam still hasn't played a great game this series, and I'm still waiting on him to play one. Jimmy is obviously showing you that he's going to consistently give you 30 a night. It does not matter because he only had 2 free throws last night, but that's because he was so focused on being Steph Curry. The 3-point shooting 60% from the field. It's like Russell Westbrook in my head, where you're waiting for it to hit a wall and end, but it just hasn't ended yet. And you're just wondering how much longer can this keep up? Because yes, Duncan is this good a shooter. 5 for 5 though or 5 for 6 is. Yes, Max is a good shooter. You shot 34% all season, bro. Like we're gonna need at least 40% shooting while taking 43s to win another game, and that's doable. If this was last year's Heat, I don't have that enough faith in this year's Heat. But genuinely, if right now all we need is for another generational Bam and Jimmy game back to back. Can't be in the same game. Can't waste 2 great performances all at once. We need one for each of you back.
Enough of them. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ration them. No, I think
you're on the ball there, but man, this Miami team's looking a lot closer, the supporting cast, to where it was in 2021. And the question for Miami, The question for Miami was that feasible? Was that realistic? And in the most important part of the season, with the greatest opportunity they've been presented, they lived up to the task. I mean, Kyle Lowry, he had the injuries, but we all knew how nice of a fit he would be, and he's been great. One last point of Victor Oladipo, I grimaced before because I was looking back at the Andre Roberson rupture patellar injury back in 2017. It was pretty similar to VO, but he was going up for a lob, and that injury is more nasty. But look, man, to talk about Victor Oladipo, there may not have been a peak more sadly robbed of us than VO. In Indiana, he was one of only 3 guys to take LeBron to 7 games in the Eastern Conference with Jason Tatum and Paul George. And we only got to see 1 year of him as the most improved player, an All-NBA player, arguably the best shooting guard in the NBA, not just the Eastern Conference. He was one of the best defenders, one of the best slashers, a menace in transition. His three-point shot was improving. Everything was pointing to Victor Oladipo becoming the successor to Paul George. And all of that was stripped from us. And we've seen him for years now, working his way back off in Houston and now in Miami. And there's been a 3-year timeline now to the season of months on months of him coming back, suffering injury, undergoing surgery. And last night was, even as like a non-Miami Heat fan just looking for a competitive basketball series, I was heartbroken for Victor Oladipo.
Got the entire arena. Like, nobody was cheering. The bench was just silent, looking down. Like, it didn't feel right. And, you know, people kill me for this thing, but I look at, like, 2018 Vic, I'm like, how much worse is he than, like, 2011 D Rose? Let's be real here. Because, like, right now, Vic that season was leading the league in steals, averaging 24 points per game, relatively okay playmaker. And that's on a team with one Miles Turner that didn't realize that he could score in the paint because he just wanted to take jumpers at the time, and Domantas Sabonis that we all know is a traffic cone. Let's be real here. He's a traffic cone. Come on.
He's a solid switch defender, but yeah, he's a liability at the rim.
On who? Klay Thompson?
He can switch.
Yes, sure. Yes, go switch him out on any guard. Let's watch him get cooked. I love the Kings too, but I'm not gonna lie. But the way he was able to lead that indie team levels that they reached that 1 year, being able to push Bond to 7, even though it was that bad of a Cleveland team.
I mean, his second best teammate was Bojan, who shot 39%. Thaddeus Johnson. That was before he realized he was the best playmaker in the world, like Miles Turner realizing he could score in the paint. And then Darren Collison as starting point guard. That Pacers team had no business taking a LeBron James team to 7. The 2018 Indiana Pacers. That's what I'm talking about.
With Vic. So yeah, I just feel real bad for him, man. The moment I saw him go down and I saw him hold his knee, I'm like, okay, please be a tweak. And then Caleb came over and then he's like, yo, try to help him. He's like, nah. I'm like, oh,